This is Ben Davison. Subscribe to Stephen Icon.
Now, looking at the comments here on YouTube, across social media, boxing forums, etc., I always look to see what it is that people are talking about. I want to see who is it that people are talking about and what are they saying about certain fighters. And that goes for various weight divisions. But on this one, I want to talk about the heavyweight. Now, most people talk about the top three. You're talking Joshua, Fury, Wilder. For me, I include Dillian Whyte in that one. For me, I think that Dillian Whyte has a good chance to defeat any of those three, as they have a very good chance of defeating him too. Outside of them four, there isn't too many that you could really put in there to say they could really challenge any of those. I know some people say Luis Ortiz, but Luis Ortiz has yet to prove it. Okay, but that's not to say that he can't, which is fair enough. But anyway, I want to talk about the three, because people talk about the three. We're talking Joshua, Fury, and Wilder. And looking up and down the internet and what people are saying, especially on social media as well, whenever people talk about Wilder, it's like he has become the little man in the heavyweight division in his own country. It seems that in America, I mean, certainly here in the UK, I mean, that's not even a debate, okay? But in America, people are talking more about Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua than what they are talking about Wilder in a positive light, is what I'm talking about. People will talk about Wilder only off the back of Joshua and Fury. They don't talk about Wilder on his own, and unless it's real negativity, because it does seem to be that over the last couple of weeks, especially the last couple of weeks, I mean, you could probably go back as far as when he was gifted a draw against Tyson Fury, and he was gifted a draw. But it does seem that people, even his own countrymen, even his own fan base, I'm not talking the extreme fan base, we know who they are. Deontay Wilder can go up and kick a puppy and punch a granny in the face, and they'll still try and find a way to defend him. Okay, I'm not talking about those ones. I'm talking about the general fans who do support Wilder, and rightfully so. Okay, but they are realistic, as in they look at the whole situation with an open mind and go, yeah, actually, Wilder, he got exposed badly against Tyson Fury. These people are saying things along the lines of, how can you allow a man who was out for 2.5 years, went through so much mental anguish, as in Tyson Fury, ballooned up in all that weight, come back and fought two lesser opponents. I mean, they're not even ranked in the top 100 in the world, and then allowed him to come to your own country and embarrass you. And that's pretty much what he done. Yes, he dropped Tyson Fury on 2 occasions, but it's not enough to win a fight. It just isn't. Anybody who knows boxing knows that. But it seems to be that when people talk about Wilder, it's like he is now the little man, as in he's the one that's the easy one to beat. He's the one that people are embarrassed of. As I said, even his own countrymen are saying this. His own fan base, as much as they do support him, and they do hope that Wilder does become undisputed. They do hope that he gets a rematch with Tyson Fury and defeats him. They hope that when he fights Joshua, if he fights Joshua, that he defeats Joshua and becomes undisputed. And that's fair enough, and nobody can criticize anybody who wants that for their own fighter. People support whoever it is that they support. Of course, for me, Dillian Whyte is my heavyweight, okay? But ultimately, people will have their own thoughts and narratives of whatever it may be. But the extremist ones, as I said, they will defend him to the hilt. But it does seem that when they're talking about Joshua, even Wilder's own fans are looking at Joshua going, well, look at 22 fights. Look at what it is that he's done. He has got a resume that far exceeds Deontay Wilder, certainly, and of course exceeds Tyson Fury as well. And that's not a negative. It's a realistic thing to say. His resume is far superior to both of them. It's not even worthy of a debate. Okay? But just because his resume is better doesn't mean that he beats both of them 10 out of 10 times. It doesn't mean that at all. It just means that he has stepped up far quicker than either of those two. But again, you could argue with the fact that Tyson Fury has been out of the ring for so long. Maybe, had he not have done, maybe him and Joshua would have already fought, and maybe Tyson Fury would have defeated Joshua. You never know. You never know. But it does seem to me that Tyson Fury and Anthony Joshua, even in America, are bigger names, certainly, than what Deontay Wilder is by some distance. Yes, people do talk about Wilder, but it seems to be in a negative. People are saying, listen, man, we support you and we want you to achieve, okay? You're flying the flag for the United States of America. Okay, you're not cut from the same cloth as Muhammad Ali and Joe Frazier and Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, etc. You're not cut from that cloth, but you are what we have, and because you are American, we support you. But all the excuses of not fighting Joshua, we know it's complete hogwash. We know that you're lying, and we're sensing that you're scared. And if you're not scared, your team are scared. They don't want to put you in that situation. And it's not a case of they don't want him to do these things, not at all. I mean, you can see it all over the place. They are saying to Wilder, we are so used to watching you fight bum after bum after bum. And that's not just no disrespect to his opponents. It's just that when you're a heavyweight champion and you're claiming to be the best, you should be fighting and defeating the best. He goes from one extreme to the other. He says, I'm the baddest man on the planet. Nobody wants to fight me. Everybody's in fear of me. Yeah, he's got half the heavyweight division wishing to fight him. You see, other people should say that about a fighter. A fighter should never have to say that kind of thing about themselves. Mike Tyson never walked around claiming to be the baddest man on the planet until other people did it before him. Okay? And when you talk about yourself a lot, you know it's not true. He is a one-trick pony. He does only have that one big right hand. And ultimately, he is a loss waiting to happen. We know that. We've seen his last two fights. He's been exposed badly. And I said, even his own fan base, I look at him going, you turned down $120 million? You are lucky to have that belt right now. We support you, but you are lucky to have that belt right now. Had the judges had awarded it to Tyson Fury, we wouldn't have complained. It was the right thing to do. We're realistic here. But it does seem that the extremists, they'll always come up with their narratives for Wilder. And unfortunately, these are the ones who give him the bad rep. Because he mingles with these people, and a lot of the things that he says, people just can't warm to him. Which is what I'm saying to you, that he's become the little man in his own country. Tyson Fury is going to be fighting in America next, after going to America originally and schooling Wilder. Is Tyson Fury versus Tom Schwartz a fight that's going to get people excited? No, of course not. But people in America are talking about that fight, whether it's positive or negative. Anthony Joshua, undefeated, going to America again to defend his world titles. Well, not again, this is his first time going to America to defend his world titles against an undefeated American. Wilder has yet to leave his own country. And all the signs point to him not being confident of leaving his own country and performing, because he's used to home cooking. And we've seen that when he fought Luis Ortiz. Yes, he did stop Luis Ortiz, but arguably the fight could have been stopped at around number 7. He did get help from the medical team and the referee. People know that. And up until round number 10, the stoppage, even the judges were having Wilder winning. Most people who know boxing, including his own fans, were going, no, that weren't right. Ultimately, it didn't matter because the stoppage came, okay? And against Tyson Fury, people go, no, man, you lost that fight. Be realistic about it. But it does seem that Joshua is the one that is adding up to his resume. He's the one that's stepping up. Tyson Fury, listen, man, he had the opportunity to have a rematch with Deontay Wilder after WBC forced it. So it's not like Wilder particularly wanted the fight. I mean, he may have done, but it's not like he went out of his way to choose Tyson Fury from that point of view, because the WBC ordered the fight. Ultimately, Tyson Fury, for me, he allowed his team to talk him out of it. It's about building the brand, okay? I'm not happy about it myself, but you know what? He shouldn't have been in there to start with against Wilder. And that's the truth of it. But with Anthony Joshua, listen, man, he's doing what a world champion does. People can say that Anthony Joshua is carrying Tyson Fury's belts. Well, he's not. Tyson Fury lost those belts through his own actions. Should Anthony Joshua just hand the belts back over? Of course not. Of course not. But the fact is, people are realistic when they see Wilder and they go, but you have lost your last fight. You got exposed in the fight before that as well. You've got an awful resume, which is one of the reasons why he's not popular, is because people are used to seeing him in a certain way, fighting people that you don't want to see him fight. We wanted him to step up a long time ago. Had he have done that, people won't be talking about him the way that they do now. He's a cherry picker and all that kind of thing. And of course saying how he wants to be pregnant and whatever. And yet his fans say nothing about it. His extreme fans say nothing about it. But yet they're quite happy to jump on board when other boxers say or do things along those lines, like Oscar De La Hoya wearing suspenders. You know, Adrian Broner acting a bit camp with Gervonta Davis messing about. They're quite happy to jump all over that, but don't say a peep when it comes to Wilder wanting to get pregnant. Okay, and his fans are starting to see that. Americans as a whole are starting to see that as well. We know that there is that very small section, but they're too deluded. They're too wrapped up in their own little world to see what the rest of the world is saying, where Wilder is talked about, but not in a good way. He's just not in a good way. People are not talking about Joshua so much or Tyson Fury so much because they know what it is that they're doing. Most people talk about those in a negative way, but they don't talk about Joshua in a negative way. They don't talk about Tyson Fury in a negative way. People may not be happy about their next fights, but for Joshua, that's Wilder's fault. He could have took the money. He could have fought Anthony Joshua, but he just refused any kind of to respond to an email, to respond to a phone call, just point blank refused. And his own fans are looking at it going, this is wrong. This is wrong. So quite clearly, he's become the little man in this whole equation. Personally, I said, I think Dillian Whyte would grab hold of Deontay Wilder and bash him around and stop him. Early doors as well. I think that it will not go past the halfway part. I think Dillian Whyte gets him out of there. But again, some people will disagree. Well, some people say, yeah, but Wilder, he'll land that big right hand. Is he going to land that big right hand, though? There's a question. Is he going to? Anyway, I mean, that's my thoughts, and obviously most of your thoughts as well. It appears here on the internet where people may well be talking about Wilder, but it's in a negative way. They're looking at Wilder saying, man, you allowed yourself to be talking out of $120 million. You're weak and you're pathetic. You don't represent us like we thought that you did. You know, you make every excuse in the book to not fight Joshua when you promised us, because you love us, remember? Anyway, that's what it is. So you drop your thoughts below, click thumbs up, and of course subscribe. Catch you all on the next video.